who understands the limitation of this realm can also understand the limitation of, without going there, I can understand that also will be limited. I have not gone to Pitriloka, but if I am doing karma, I may go to Pitriloka, but that also will be limited, because there is also a realm of perception, there is also a realm of objects, that also will give me pleasures in the form of perception. Here I become happy through pleasures, then also I will be happy with through perception, through pleasures. But pleasure by nature limited. Therefore, whether it is earthly pleasures or Pitriloka pleasures or Brahmaloka pleasures, anywhere pleasure is limited, because it is born of a sense contact. And the sense contact is limited because it begins and ends. You can't have an eternal contact with a sense object. You can't go on seeing. Therefore, you can't go on hearing. Even if it is there for a long time, you hear for 1 hour, you get tired. However great that music is. Sometimes, we are so much in a hurry and anxious to begin the movie. You go to a movie theater, and since morning you prepare yourself to go to a movie. Then after half an hour, 1 hour, you get tired of the movie. Then you are more anxious to leave. Sometimes, you are more anxious to leave than you came. Possible, And therefore, there is no pleasure which is endless, and there is no pleasure which doesn't tire. We have to see both the points. A pleasure is limited, and a pleasure can also give dukkham. What we call pleasure can give dukkham, it can tire you. If I have to see, supposing you have to see, you are forced to see a beautiful sight again and again. Beautiful thing, all right, all the time you have to see 24 hours. You will get tired. Beautiful thing you have to hear. Say 24 hours you have to hear music. You will be tired. So that means what? A pleasure is limited, plus it can also tire you. It can tire you. Yama says that pleasures tire you. Therefore, the one who has understood the nature of pleasures here can also understand the nature of the Pitriloka and Brahmaloka. Therefore, he will not do any karma and upasana for their sake, because from now itself, right from here, I can understand the pleasures there. And that person is called a Jignasuhu. He is out of karma, he is out of upasana. Because he has understood the limitation of the phala of karma and phala of upasana. And he also understands what he is interested in cannot come through karma and upasana. Karma cannot make him free forever. Upasana cannot make him free forever. That person, having come out of karma and upasana, becomes a jignasu. Now, once a person becomes a jignasu, then what should be the topic? Karma, upasana, or jnanam? Jnanam. That is why here it says, ataha urdhvam, thereafter. After the completion of karma, after completion of upasana, after understanding the limitation of karma and upasana, ataha urdhvam, then phala nirapeksha jnana. Phala nirapeksha jnana karma samuchaya anushtanat. Phala nirapeksha, without expecting any material result. That is called phala nirapeksha. Jnana karma samuchaya anushtanat, by way of performing karma and upasana, not for a given result, but for chitta shuddhi. A person can stop karma, can stop upasana for phalam, but he can still continue them for mental purity, as a prayer to the Lord, as a prayer for mental purity. In the beginning, a person always does karma for phalam and upasana for phalam. But later on, having understood the limitation of phalam, then he can discover the value for knowledge. And if he has to gain knowledge, then he requires a mind. because knowledge means he has to understand. Now for the purity of that mind, what is the sadhanam? If a person has to become pure in his mind, then the same karma, the same upasana he can do in a simple way for mental purity. That is called karma phala nirapeksham, without expecting a given result, but for mental purity. Phala nirapeksha jnana karma samuchaya anusthana. By following karma, by following upasana, without expecting a material result, but expecting a result of mental purity for the sake of knowledge. That is samuchaya anushthanat krita atma sanskarasya, for the one whose mind has become samskritam. Krita atma sanskara. Atma means antahkaranam here. Krita atma samskritasya. Krita atma samskarasya means the one whose atma, the antahkaranam, has become purified through the performance of karma and upasana as a prayer to the Lord rather than as a means to phalam. Are you able to follow? The one who doesn't do karma and upasana, he doesn't do any action mainly for the result, but he does karma mainly as a prayer to the Lord for chitta shuddhi, because he has discovered the value for knowledge. So the moment I discover the value for knowledge, then I also discover the need for mental purity, because knowledge means what? I have to understand. Wherever understanding is involved, you are involved. Understanding is involved means you are involved. You are involved means your attention is involved. Your attention is more important. Therefore, having discovered the value for knowledge, he can still continue performing karma and upasana for the sake of chitta shuddhi. For him, krita atma sanskarasya means shuddha antahkaranasya, the one whose antahkarana has become shuddham. For him, uchchinna atmajnana pratibandakasya, the one uchchinna, the first you take the word uchchinna. Uchchinna means free from, destroyed. Uchchinna means chale gaya. Jnana pratibandakasya, the one who is free from the obstacles that, the one who is free from certain obstacles which might prevent knowledge. It's called uchchinna atmajnana pratibandakasya. Chinna jnana pratibandakasya means, pratibandaka means an obstacle. Not to have shraddha is a pratibandaka, is it not? Not to have shraddha itself, not to have shama, not to have dhamma, not to have uparati, is all called pratibandakam. One pratibandakam is enough. You may be very beautiful in all respects, but then you can't sit and listen. बहुत अच्छा विद्यार्थी है. He is a very good student. He is a very good student, Swamiji, but the only thing is, so he never speaks a lie and he is always patient. कोई भी कुछ कहें, कुछ नहीं कहते हैं. He is a very beautiful person. Only thing is, the moment the class begins, he goes to sleep. है ना? सब अच्छा है, लेकिन श्रवण नहीं होता है. वो भी नहीं होगा. That also becomes an obstacle. Everything all right, he listens all right. Immediately after the class, he forgets the whole class. That is also a problem. No, he listens and he remembers also, but then he never likes to think about it. Okay, that is also a problem. No, he thinks about it also. While thinking, his mind runs here and there. Means what? Shama is not there. That is also a problem. He thinks all right for a minute, but then afterwards his mind wanders. That means what? To the extent there is a problem, to that extent it is prevented. Knowledge is prevented. Therefore all these things are necessary. A person who does karma and upasana as a prayer to the Lord, asking Him to bless him, asking Him for all these factors like Vivek, Vairagya, Shama, Dhamma, Ityad. Whatever problems can come, whatever problems are posed by the mind, in order to be free from all those problems, you do karma upasana as a prayer. Pratibandakasya pranasya upasanani uktan. No. Atkasya dvaita vishaya dosha darshinaha. And in fact, a lot of pratibandhakas come to an end by offering prayer to the Lord. You offer a prayer to the Lord and you ask for a thing, you will get it. And if you don't get it, first of all, it is impossible not to get it. If you really offer a prayer to the Lord, it will take time to make that result manifest, but it does. If you ask for a loka, it will take time. If you ask for mental purity, it doesn't take time. As you pray, you are peaceful. As you pray, you are pure. As you pray, you are ready. That is one thing. Prayer is one means. The second is, and what else is the quality of that person? He is the one who has been doing karma upasana as a prayer, number one. And his mind is pure. And he is free from the obstacles that prevent knowledge. And also he is the one, Dvaita Vishaya Dosha Darshinaha. He sees the doshas of Dvaitam. Dvaita Vishaya Dosha Darshinaha. The one who sees that Dvaitam is the problem. Dvaitam means what? This is Dvaitam. I am the Jiva and this is Jagat. We are two separate things. And if there is Ishvara, that is also different from me. The sense, perception itself is what is called Dvaitam. Perception is another name for Dvaitam. Where there is no perception, can you have Dvaitam? To see is what is called to have Dvaitam. To see a thing means you are the seer and that is something called seen. That is called Dvaitam. In hearing there is Dvaitam. In seeing there is Dvaitam. In thinking there is Dvaitam. So in the entire perception there is Dvaitam. Therefore this Dvaitam can never, it is this Dvaitam that is a problem. Because as involved in Dvaitam, I am always an individual. Individuality becomes a reality once the Dvaitam is a reality. Is it clear? If the object is real, then my being related to the object is also real. If sound is real, then my being related to the sound is also real. So wherever there is relationship between me and a form, relationship between me and a sound, relationship between me and anything for that matter, even a memory, relationship is what is called Dvaitam. Duality means what? Division. Division is otherwise called relationship. It's called relationship. It's another name. Like Ghata is different from Pata. Means what? Ghata is related to, Ghata is not Pata, Ghata is related to Pata. Related means they are divided and then this is an object, that is an object. Relationship. Object-object relationship. Therefore, Dvaitam means what? To be related to something other than oneself. अपने अलावा और भी कुछ रहना, that is called Dvaitam. This kind of Dvaitam is the problem, and also इतनी ज्ञान तो पहले नहीं होगा. A seeker will not discover in the beginning that Dvaitam is the problem. He will discover that there are problems in objects. The dosha in every object. Every object has a dosha. It tempts me, promises fulfillment, and then ultimately frustrates me. That is the dosha of an object. An object has a dosha because it promises fullness, takes all my time, and then what will I get? Nothing. Ultimately he says, "Aap apne rasta mein jao." So having taken all my time, I give my life for the objects and the objects desert me. Even if they don't desert me, they don't give me any fulfillment. So that an object is parichinnam, it is limited, it is a sukha, it gives me sukha all right, but it also gives me dukkha. These are all called doshas. Dvaita Vishaya Dosha Darshinaha. And also, if a seeker is really nice, if he is viveki, he can also understand the problem is Dvaitam itself is dosha. For him, And also nirjnata asesha bahya vishayatvat. Nirjnata, the one who has known, by whom it is known. What is nirjnata means known, understood. Asesha bahya vishayatvat. Asesha bahya vishayaha. Nirjnata asesha bahya vishayaha is the name of the person. Meaning because he has understood the nature of every outside object. Nirjnata asesha bahya vishayatvat. The entire phrase means because he has understood the nature of every outside object. Means what? He is not a gullible person. A mumukshu is not gullible. And everybody in this world is gullible. Some people think, we are very smart. But those who say we are smart, they are nothing but gullible. Because wasting time for what they don't really need in life. A person has one house, and if he is working for another house, is it not a waste of time? He has got enough. A house or two houses, whatever you require, you have. The surplus that one works for, what is it going to do? Supposing one is working for the surplus, excess, because they say nothing succeeds like excess. So nothing succeeds like excess, therefore you are going for excess. What are you going to do with that excess? It's wasting time. So now is it being gullible or is it being really realistic, smart? You are not going to carry it with you, you are not going to utilize. It is not going to be utilized by you. It's not going to be utilized by you. That means you create a thing which you don't need. Is it waste of time or not? It's waste of time. What are you going to do with it? But anyway, basically everybody is gullible because even to believe that I am going to be all right because I am going to have all these things. To believe a pleasure itself is a gullibility. To believe an object is gullibility. If you say objects are meant to sustain me, then you are being practical. Supposing you say I am going to be all right in my peace, I am going to be peaceful, I am going to be secure, I am going to be happy, all that through the objects if you say, then you are being gullible. Even objects make us gullible. Objects make us gullible. A mumukshu is one who is not a gullible person. He knows nirjnata asesha bahya vishayatvat. He has understood the nature of every outside object. He understands any object, it gives me a moment of exhilaration, but ultimately it's nothing. After the pleasure, what is one? Before you begin pleasure, what are you? And after the pleasure is over. Before the pleasure begins and after the pleasure is over, between you before the pleasure and you after the pleasure is over, what is the difference? There is no difference. Incomplete. Before the pleasure, incomplete. After the pleasure is over, incomplete. In between, complete? No. With a hope to become complete. So, nahi hoga. So, it is called the one who has got vairagya mityartha. Nirjnata asesha bahya vishayatvati sansara bijam ajnanam. Now, he understands that the whole problem is due to ignorance. Therefore, he is out to destroy that ignorance. Therefore, sansara bijam. This entire sansara that I am embodied is a part of sansara. That I see the world, please listen to these points. In reflection, what help you is all these things. It is not some general talk. These are the points to be reflected upon. Every sentence is a point to be reflected upon. That I have embodiment itself is a part of sansara. Your situation itself is a sansara. Not that in this situation you have sansara. The very situation is sansara. That you are a dreamer is sansara, and the sorrow that you experience in the dream is also dream sansara. Not that the dreamer doesn't have sansara. To be dreamer is a sansara. Is it not? Does dreamer have samsara? To be a dreamer is a part of samsara, and remaining the dreamer, having become the dreamer, I go about enjoying sukha dukkha, that is also samsara. Therefore, that I have this deha is a part of samsara. I see the world is a samsara, and then I leave this body and will take another body is also samsara. I have dream is also samsara, and I remain ignorant in sleep, that is also samsara. To be a waker is samsara, to be a dreamer is samsara, to be a sleeper is samsara, and also to be taking body after body is all samsara. It's all within samsara. Therefore, for this entire situation, there is only one reason, because this entire situation is not a part of Atma. Atma doesn't have this thing in it. So, in Atma, this entire thing is appearing. Therefore, due to Bhranti, that is called Ajnanam. Sansara Bijam means the reason for this situation. Sansara Bija means the reason for this situation. Ajnanam meaning ignorance, not to understand oneself. Ajnanam, ignorance, not to understand one's nature. Otherwise called Bhranti, called Ajnanam. Uchit Sataha. Uchit Suhu. Uchit Suhu means, Uchetum Ichuhu Uchit Suhu. Uchit Suhu means the one who wants to destroy is called Uchit Suhu. Uchit Sataha means what? Desiring to destroy. This person desiring, present participle, Shashti Ekavachan. Uchit Sataha. Uchit San, Uchit Santau, Uchit Santaha. Shashti Ekavachan, Uchit Sataha, Uchit Sataha. For the person desiring to destroy. Having understood the nature of the outside objects, having understood that the whole problem is one of Dvaitam, and having offered karma and upasana as a prayer to the Lord, and having purified his own mind, and now desiring to destroy the self-ignorance, Bhranti, then Pratyagatma Vishaya Jignasoho. What else is he? He wants to know Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma Vishaya Jignasoho. Jignasu means, the one who wants to know. Jignasu means he has nothing else, the one who wants to know. He is not interested in gaining something, but he is interested in knowing something. The one who is like a person who wants to gain something, supposing you want to gain money, then knowledge is secondary. You are not worried about knowledge. How much you know and how much you don't know, you don't worry. How much you have and how much you don't have, that is what matters. People don't think about what they are. They always think about what they have. What they have is what matters. Therefore, a person who is interested in knowledge, will he think about prapti and aprapti? No. So there is a difference between a jignasu and a person who wants to have, to gain. Chikirshuhu. Chikirshuhu means, the one who wants to work and gain. Is called a chikirshuhu. Chikirshuhu means, जो काम करके कुछ पाना चाहता है. He is called चिकीर्षु. कर्म करने की इच्छा वाला, फल के लिए. So a person who wants to work and accomplish is one person. Another person is who wants to know. It's called jignasu. He wants to know himself. What does he want to know? Pratyagatma Vishaya Jignaso ho. He wants to know about Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma means himself. For him, Keneshatamiti Atma Swarupa Tattva Vijnanaya Ayam Adhyayaha Arabhyate. For his sake. Now all that you see, for that person's sake. For the person who has understood that Pitriloka is not the solution, Brahmaloka is not the solution, even this Loka is not the solution. And that person who has really done the karma and upasana for the sake of chitta shuddhi. And that person who is free from the obstacles for knowledge, who is free from the mental problems, the one who is ready for knowledge, ityartha. The one who is free from certain things which generally prevent knowledge, he is free from them. And the one who has understood that the real problem is one of Dvaitam, and who has also understood that the objects are really limited, they have nothing to really give me. And the one who has understood that the whole samsara is due to self-ignorance, and therefore the one who is out to understand Atma, the Pratyeka. For him, for that person, this adhyaya is being given. Now the present text is being given. That is Keneshitamiti. This Upanishad called Keneshitam, beginning with Keneshitam. That particular word, Keneshitam. We will come to that word later on, but to begin with you can understand this is beginning with Keneshitam. So this text beginning with Keneshitam, iti Atma Swarupa Tattva Vijnanaya. Keneshitamiti ayam adhyayaha arabhyate. You connect it like this. Keneshitamiti ayam adhyayaha. This particular section, arabhyate, is being begun. For what? Tattva vijnanaya. For understanding tattvam. Tattva vijnanaya. For understanding tattvam. For communicating this tattvam to the seeker. To communicate this tattvam to the seeker, this adhyaya is being begun. The Veda itself begins. Who begins Kena Upanishad? Kena Upanishad is a particular adhyaya, particular section of what? Every Upanishad is a section within Veda. Kena Upanishad is Vedanta, is it not? Is Upanishad outside Veda or inside Veda? Inside Veda. So you can't say, Swamiji, Kena Upanishad, who wrote Kena Upanishad? Kena Upanishad nobody wrote. It has been a part of Veda. Even if you arrive at somebody, even though you can trace the words to a given teacher, can you trace the knowledge? Jnanam is anadi. Hai na? The knowledge is anadi. Is it not? There is a difference. Supposing Kena Upanishad is there. Somebody might have put the knowledge in the form, somebody must have, within some Rishi in the Veda, some Rishi might have said these sentences. Keneshitam padati preshitam manaha iti. You have sentences. Now definitely it is logical to say that this thing has been traced to a given person. Is it not? A statement is made by a given person. And it is heard by a given person. So that means you can trace the beginning of Upanishad in the form of sentences. The words, the sentences of Vedanta can be just accepting. I am only accepting, I am telling. The words and the sentences can be traced to a given person. But the knowledge cannot be traced to a given person. So when we say Vedanta is beginningless, we don't really mean a particular word is beginningless. That also we prove as beginningless later on, but mainly what is Vedanta is the words. Is it the words that are called Vedanta? Is it the sentences that are called Vedanta, or is it the knowledge? I gave the definition of Upanishad in the beginning, the first class. That is, Upanishad means what? The knowledge is called Upanishad. Knowledge is called Vedanta. And the words are used to communicate that knowledge. Therefore, what conveys that knowledge also is called Upanishad. Like even you have history, you have got history, or a music book. There is a book which teaches you music, talks about music. Now, because now those words which communicate, which describe music, is it music? Those words which talk about music? No, no, no. And there is a book which talks about history. Is it history? Are the words history? No. But still you call that as a history book because it is communicating history. But actually what is history is different from what is conveyed is history. Because what is conveyed is history, the means of conveying, the means of communication also is called history. Is it clear? Similarly, what is communicated in Vedanta is Atma Vastu, that Jnanam. The Jnanam is communicated by the Vedanta. Now the words which communicate that knowledge also are called Vedanta. But mainly what is Vedanta? The knowledge that is communicated is called Vedanta. And what communicates is also called Vedanta as a Gauna. As a Gauna means secondarily. The words are also called Shabda Rashi. The Shabda Rashi is also called Vedanta, but mainly what is Vedanta? Jnanamiti. Therefore here says Adhyayaha Arabhyate, the Veda begins this section called Kenopanishad, beginning with Keneshitam. This Upanishad is begun by the Veda. This section is begun by Veda. For whose sake? For a Jignasu, the one who wants to know Pratyagatma and get out of samsara, which is born of ignorance. Okay. So, no, it's making a lot of noise. Not necessary. No problem. Is it clear? Now we begin. It says, now we are beginning this Adhyaya for the sake of Asika. Now you can understand who studies Vedanta. For whom is Vedanta? For anybody? No. For anybody is not Vedanta. Vedanta is meant for that person who has understood that really there is no other way out but self-knowledge. When a person has not really got Vairagyam, when a person has not really understood the need for Vedantam, without understanding the need for Vedantam, if a person reads Vedanta, he will always have a complaint, Swamiji, we can't understand Vedanta, we don't understand Vedanta. That is because we don't see the relevance, why I should study Vedanta. Unless I discover the need for Vedanta, studying Vedanta will not help. And to discover the need for Vedanta, I should discover the need for knowledge. And to discover the need for knowledge, I should discover that the problem is one of ignorance. There is no other problem. We don't have any other problem but ignorance. So the moment I discover ignorance as the problem, Bhranti as the problem, then the knowledge becomes necessary. If knowledge is necessary, then Vedanta is necessary. Thus you take to Vedanta seeing its full necessity, seeing its necessity, how without that you can't be free. If that is done, Vedanta speaks. Thus now it says, now Arabhyate is begun. Tena cha, then by that, Tena cha, Mrityu padam ajnanam. By this, Mrityu padam ajnanam. Means what? Mrityu ajnanam, which is called by the word Mrityu. Mrityu means death. Karma. Mrityu padam, Mrityu is a word used for karma, ajnanam, sansara, even death. All these things are called by the word Mrityu. So that you don't worry. Mrityu padam ajnanam means ajnanam, ignorance. Mrityu padam, otherwise called Mrityu. So Mrityu padam ajnanam uchetavyam. Uchetavyam means what? Has to be destroyed. This ajnanam has to be destroyed. To be destroyed. Uchetavyam. By this jnanam, tena cha, by that means what? Tattva jnanena ityartaha. It was said before, now the arambha, now the adhyaya is being given for the sake of tattva jnanam. Why do you require tattva jnanam? Because tena tattva jnanena, by that tattva jnanam, mrityu-padam ajnanam, ajnanam otherwise called mrityu. Itna hi baat is a paribhashika, is a technical word. In the Upanishad, we use the word mrityu also for ajnana. So, mrityu-padam ajnanam uchetavyam becomes destroyed, should be destroyed. Tat tantro hi sansaraha yataha. Why should you destroy ignorance after all? Let it be there. Ignorance, why should you destroy? It has been there for a long time and you become so annoyed with it and you want to destroy it. इतनी काम करने की क्या जरूरत है? अपने आप में रहो. Why do you want to destroy? Because yataha, because tat tantro hi sansaro hi. Because sansara depends upon ajnana. Tat tantro hi, ajnana tantro hi, sansaro, sansaraha. Sansaraha, yataha, because. So, tena hi mrityupadam ajnanam uchetavyam yataha tat tantro hi sansaraha. Ajnanam needs to be destroyed. Ajnanam needs to be destroyed because sansara is there due to ajnanam. Tat tantraha, based upon that ignorance, depending upon, due to ignorance. Tat tantraha means due to ignorance. He, indeed, as it is anubhav siddham, sansaraha, sansara, yataha, because. So ajnanam needs to be destroyed because sansara depends upon ignorance. Therefore, can you say let the ignorance be? Can you take a stand, let the ignorance be? No, because you can't take a stand, let the sansara be. Can you really reconcile with sansara for a second? Try to reconcile, because that reconciliation itself is a sansara. Reconciliation itself is helplessness, helplessness is a sansara. You cannot say let the ignorance be because you can't reconcile with sorrow. Can you reconcile with sorrow? No. Try to use your will and see for yourself. Is it ever possible for you to reconcile with sorrow? Let me live with sorrow, can you say? No. You can say, let me live with a discomfort. Let me live with a discomfort, one day I will be happy. That means you have not reconciled with unhappiness. You are still seeking happiness. So when you stand in discomfort, it is meant for happiness. You say, if I stand in discomfort, as a prayer to the Lord, He will bless me one day. One day happiness aa jayega. Therefore, when you stand discomfort, it is for happiness. When you look for a comfort, then also it is for happiness. But you can never reconcile, you can never settle for unhappiness. You can settle for discomfort. As a man, a simple person, having value for simplicity, you can settle for tapasya, discomfort. You can settle for comfort. But in both you are settling only for happiness, not for unhappiness. It is impossible to settle for unhappiness. It is impossible to settle for unhappiness. So you have to distinguish between comfort and happiness. Understand? Comfort and happiness. So one looks for comfort for happiness, another can stand discomfort for happiness. Therefore, I can reconcile with poverty. I can reconcile with discomforts. I can reconcile with anything in the world, but I can't reconcile with unhappiness and bondage. And therefore, you can't reconcile with sansara. That means you can't reconcile with ignorance. If you can't reconcile with unhappiness and bondage, you can't reconcile with sansara. That means you can't reconcile with ignorance. Therefore, you can't say let the ignorance be. You have to destroy it. All these things to be understood. Anadhigatatvat atmanaha. Anadhigatatvat atmanaha yukta. Tadadhigamaya tadvishaya jignasa. Anadhigatatvat. Because it's not understood. Adhigata means understood. Anadhigata. means ununderstood. Anadhigatatvam, that is the nature of Atma. Anadhigatatvat, the whole phrase means anadhigatatvat means because it has not been understood. Anadhigatatvat atmanaha, because Atma has not been understood. Is it clear? Because Atma has not been understood. Swamiji, how can you say Atma has not been understood? I know myself. No, when the moment you say I know myself, it simply means it is a wrong knowledge about whatever you know about yourself is a wrong knowledge about oneself. I am a Jiva, the moment you say it is a wrong knowledge about myself, the Brahma. I am Jiva is a wrong knowledge about myself, Brahma. Like this is snake is a wrong knowledge about this is rope. This snake is a wrong knowledge about this rope. Similarly, me Jiva is a wrong knowledge about me Brahma. And therefore, it is not understood. As non-understood, it is called anadhigatatvam. Anadhigatatvat atmanaha. Because Atma has not been understood, yukta, it is but proper. Tad adhigamaya, to understand it. Tad vishaya jignasa, an inquiry about it. Tad vishaya means Atma vishaya jignasa vichara. Because Atma has not been understood, therefore it is but proper to begin the vichara about Atma in order to understand Atma. Is it clear? Therefore this adhyaya has to be begun. Now Kenopanishads, here the author says the Veda begins a section called the Kenopanishad, which is considered as adhyaya. This Upanishad begins now for that seeker who is interested in, now who has discovered the need for knowledge. Generally we use also sometimes very wrong expressions which create, it is not that one is interested, the other is not interested. Everybody is in need of it. One discovers the need of it, another doesn't discover the need. So who is interested in knowledge? Do you develop interest for knowledge or do you discover it? No, discover. Do you develop love for knowledge? Do you develop love? Do you develop the need for knowledge? Or is already there? The need for self-knowledge, do you discover or do you develop? So you have to discover. Swami ji, itni bade prashna hai. Kya karenge? In the market, lot of things come. You develop needs for things. Things come, then the needs are created by the things. A lot of things come, and those things create needs. You don't develop the need for knowledge, please. You don't develop the interest for knowledge. You are already in need of knowledge. Every jiva is already in need of knowledge. And that he is in need of knowledge is not known to himself. Therefore, what does one do? Discover the need for knowledge. When does one discover the need for knowledge? When one discovers that the problem is due to ignorance. Therefore, that one is in ignorance is a fact. And therefore, that one is in need of knowledge also is a fact. Which fact needs to be discovered? And therefore, here, the entire Upanishad is meant for that seeker who has discovered the need for knowledge. There is no other need, only one need for knowledge. You have to discover the need for knowledge. Like, supposing you want to reach a place. You want to reach a place, some 25 kilometers away. Or just say 100 kilometers away. Then what do? Do you develop the desire to travel? Do you develop the desire to travel? Or you discover the need to catch a bus or go by thing. You discover, you understand, if I have to reach 100 kilometers, if I have to travel, then I have to go by some transport. So do you develop the desire to travel? Is it developing or discovering? Discovering. Supposing I have to become free from samsara, I don't develop desire for knowledge. It is not developing. So you have to have the sanskara for knowledge. Oh, no, no, it's not sanskara for knowledge. You have to discover how true that your need for knowledge is. Every jiva is in need of knowledge. Even a mosquito, what does it want? What is mosquito's problem? No, these are all important. What is a mosquito's need? Mosquito thinks I am a mosquito, nothing else. That is all its problem. Its only problem is to look upon itself as a mosquito. और कोई problem है? When mosquito goes to sleep and we go to sleep, what is the difference? Therefore, a seeker has to understand one point, that is, every jiva is in need of knowledge, its own self. Every jiva, please, not every human jiva. Every living being, every jivatma is in need of self-knowledge. The moment you discover the need for knowledge, then there is a pravritti towards knowledge. For such a person is Vedanta. Now we understand to whom is Vedanta. We sometimes say Vedanta is meant for those religious-minded people, spiritual inclined people. Those who are spiritually inclined people or religious inclined people. You may be religiously inclined without understanding the need for knowledge. This so-called inclination is just a bent of mind. When you discover the need to travel